I don't know why I'm writing this. Maybe to warn others. Maybe because I can't keep it inside anymore. This happened 3 years ago, and to this day, I still don't know if I was hallucinating, if it was some elaborate prank, or if I really witnessed something beyond human understanding. But one thing is certain. After that night, nothing in my life was ever the same again. It started with the apple. I was walking home late from my shift at the bookstore. It was raining lightly, the kind of drizzle that barely makes a sound but soaks through your clothes before you even notice. My apartment was only a few blocks away, but as I turned the last corner, I saw her, a girl. She was standing completely still under the dim, flickering glow of a street lamp. Her long, blonde hair was damp, sticking to her pale skin. She looked about 12 or 13, too young to be out alone this late. She was holding an apple. At first I thought she was just playing with it, turning it over in her hands, but then she lifted it toward me. That's when I saw it. Carved deep into the red skin were 2 words, "Help me." I stopped walking. My stomach twisted in a way I couldn't explain. She didn't say anything. She just stood there, her arms outstretched, offering me the apple. "Are you okay?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. She didn't answer. I should have walked away. I should have called the police. But there was something about the way she was looking at me, like she wasn't actually seeing me, like she was trapped inside her own body. I reached for the apple. The moment my fingers brushed against it, everything around me shifted. It was faint at first, like the wind through leaves, but then it grew louder, urgent, desperate. It was coming from inside the apple. I gasped and dropped it. The girl's expression didn't change, but her lips moved ever so slightly. "Take it?" I shook my head. I took a step back, and that's when I noticed something that made my blood run cold. The sign behind her. I hadn't even seen it at first. It was just a blackboard hanging on a rusted metal fence behind the girl. But now, under the sickly glow of the street lamp, I could see the words scrawled in chalk. Black Sadness. The rain was washing the letters away, but I could still read them. My chest tightened. The phrase sounded familiar, but I didn't know why. I looked back at the girl. Her pupils were enormous, swallowing the blue of her eyes. She tilted her head slightly, as if listening to something I couldn't hear. Then she spoke again. "Please, if you don't take it, it'll choose someone else." A chill ran down my spine. "What do you mean?" I whispered. She didn't answer. She just kept holding out the apple, and then she took a step forward. Something inside me screamed, "Run," and this time, I listened. I turned and sprinted down the street, my breath coming in ragged gasps. I didn't stop until I reached my apartment door. I fumbled with my keys, glancing over my shoulder. The girl was gone. The street was empty. But something told me this wasn't over. That night, I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her standing there, her face pale and expressionless, holding out that cursed apple. At some point, exhaustion won. My eyelids grew heavy, and I slipped into an uneasy sleep. Then, at 3:13 a.m., I woke up. Not because of a nightmare, not because of a sound, because of a feeling. The air in my room was different, heavier, wrong. I turned my head toward the window, and my blood froze. She was there, standing outside in the rain, staring up at me. The apple was still in her hands, but the words had changed. Instead of "help me," it now said, "You're next." I couldn't move, I couldn't breathe. My body felt paralyzed. Then, slowly, she lifted one hand and pointed directly at me. And that's when I heard it again, the whispering. Only this time it was coming from inside my room. I turned my head ever so slightly, my heart hammering against my ribs. And that's when I saw it, the apple, sitting on my nightstand. The curse, I don't remember much after that. I must have blacked out because when I woke up, it was morning and the apple was gone. For a brief moment, I convinced myself it had been a dream. Just sleep paralysis. Just my imagination. Until I checked my phone. There was a new note saved in my drafts. I hadn't written it. It was just one sentence. Black sadness never leaves. I moved out of that apartment a week later. But no matter where I went, strange things kept happening. I would wake up in the middle of the night and hear whispering. Sometimes I would find an apple sitting in my kitchen, even though I never bought any. And once, just once, I saw her again. I was on the subway, heading home after a late shift. The train was nearly empty. And then, as we pulled into a dark tunnel, I caught a glimpse of something in the reflection of the window. A pale face, blue eyes, and an apple pressed against the glass. I turned around, but there was no one there. I don't know what the curse wants. I don't know what black sadness means. But if you ever see a girl with an apple, if you ever see those words carved into its skin, do not take it. Do not listen to the whispering. And for God's sake, do not run. Because it doesn't matter how fast you are, it always finds you.